I would like to call to order the Manlius Town Board meeting for July 24th, 2024 here at just after 6:30 p.m. As always, we are in person here. We've got a Zoom running for remote participation. We're also streaming to our Facebook, YouTube, and to our town website. If you need instructions to participate remotely, they're at the top of each of our agendas. So next up, I would like to ask Councilor Nicholson to lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So anticipating quite a number of voting comments on the Burdick Street property, we moved that to the top of the agenda to just give an update to the public. So based on resident feedback, oh yeah, that's right. This is for the 5424 and 5430 Burdick Street North. This is the one that the town was considering purchasing for a new town facility. After listening to resident feedback and also understanding there's some other properties that are available, we've decided to essentially not consider that agreement. So we're not going to be buying that property. We're not going to be signing that purchase agreement. And in the next few weeks, we're going to be discussing essentially how to better gather data as we move forward. Tonight we'll be approving a proposal for an analysis of this building, so we have an understanding of what this building will cost us to keep running for 20 years. In addition to, we'll be reaching out to another firm to help us refresh the space study and the site analysis and essentially the construction costs. And there will be likely a couple of public meetings that will be held, probably some here, likely some in another venue around town, so that we can take feedback as that project moves forward and we consider other sites and we consider whether we're gonna keep this building running, build a police department, build one joint facility. So just wanted to give everybody an update on that. So if you're interested in the building project, please make sure you are signed up for our agendas. Please make sure you're signed up for town news. That is the best way to kind of pay attention to what's on the agendas, and you're gonna get it on a Friday before the meeting, so you'll be able to look at all the materials we have out. You'll be able to send us emails with questions, know if there's a public hearing to come, or if you want to speak at open podium. So any other comments from the board on that?
Could I want to just emphasize the last thing you said. So who here would love to get text updates about what the town board is doing every week before our meeting? Raise your hand. You can go to the Town of Manlius website. You can sign up to receive text updates. It will give you the agenda for the town board meeting, the planning board meetings, the zoning board. I get them all. Sustainable Manlius, all the committees. You could sign up. You could get so many texts from us about all the things we're doing, and it would just be so excited every morning to wake up to your Town of Manlius update. If you don't receive a text message, who here's receiving text already? I'd be curious. All right, so some people. So go to the town website. I will tell you exactly what to click on right now.
So it's right on the main page. There's a series of circular icons. The stay informed icon, it's like a little email or letter emoji.
Right here is the little mail guy. Second one from the left. You click on it, and then it's notify me. And you can fill out your email and your phone, and you'll get email and text updates. And we've been doing this for years.
Okay.
Yeah, so you too can stay informed on your Town of Manlius government. That's my PSA for the evening.
So
thank you for your decision on the Burdick Street property.
I will just say, I know that there's a number of people that had material issues with the site we were considering. And that's why we've no longer decided to consider that site. The town still faces a pretty serious need, whether it's this building, whether it's a new building. The police department is honestly one of the most important pieces of this. They really do need a facility that meets their needs. And so we're going to continue this conversation. I urge everybody, like Caitlin says, please do sign up for the agendas. As we get more information, as we get the study on this building, we'll be publishing that. As we get information on other sites we're considering, we'll be publishing that, so please stay tuned. And like I said, there will be a number of ways for people to weigh in on this conversation as we move forward, so keep an eye out if that is something that interests you.
So John, if I could just add, so thank you for your feedback. That all was taken into consideration in making this decision. So it's super helpful when you communicate with us, either through our town clerk or directly to the town board, that you can email through the website.
Lots of very good.
So just seeing, I think all of these were to talk about either the property or the PUD that we've got for a public hearing. So I'm just gonna ask show of hands, if anybody in the first row is here to speak for open podium on not the building, or, I mean, if you'd like to make the building, but then specifically, not the, PUD at 5912 Burdick Street, as we do have a public hearing coming up. Yes.
Got another hearing on.
Yeah, well, yeah, open podium is,
On the top.
yeah, exactly. Open podium is more for things that aren't on the agenda, things that we need to know about, questions, that kind of stuff. So anyone show of hands, open podium?
Well, I kind of like to speak on the same old topic because I missed the last two
On which topic?
on the new, on a proposed new.
Come on.
Thing, the other stuff.
No, that's for the public hearing.
Oh,
It's actually after open podium.
oh, yeah, so we have a whole hearing set up.
Right, okay, I just. hope
So
I
this is
didn't-
for anybody who does not want to talk about the PUD at Delaware. Anything else?
Anybody in the audience, please use the raise hand
We
function.
got one over here, we got one over
Oh, my thunder. Well, Dennis, in the hours and hours of research I did about the proposed land purchase, because that's no longer on the table. Tom Bass is a retired real estate lawyer and a longtime town resident. So, I was going to talk about the purchase and sale agreement a bit, because it's not, the public hearing is over, but anyway, that's off the table now as a consequence of the decision that was just announced. So the only thing I wanted to talk about was I took a look at the three proposals that were obtained from three reputable architectural firms about the renovation and possible expansion of this town hall. And so the material was impressive. The three candidates for your consideration all have incredible credentials. What's a little bit difficult to tell is what the comparative costs are of what they're proposing to do. And because there may be a little bit different interpretation of what the scope of work that they are being asked to undertake is. And depending on that scope, that then drives their calculation of how many hours of time they have to devote to the project. And that then drives their calculation of a proposed fee. So there is one of those companies, something called C2AE, that had the lowest of the projected cost factors. What I don't know is what they're proposing to do is equivalent to what the other two candidates are. So that may explain the significant difference, and it's a significant difference of the cost factors. So I don't know if you've done yet comparative analysis of those proposals, or you're prepared to act tonight, and because that's a later item on the agenda. I don't know.
We have had some conversations, we've reached out to some references, and we'll discuss those three proposals at that point.
So thank you for your attention, and I just want to say, it's sort of like the situation of the Republican National Committee, specifically the Trump campaign. All of a sudden,
Let's
goes
not,
out,
no,
goes out,
no,
goes out,
It's down.
cameras
No,
out.
no, no.
I think
No,
they're
sorry,
reimbursed.
no.
I think
Sorry.
they're reimbursed for-
Absolutely not. Okay, show of hands, would anyone else like to speak at
I
the
think
podium?
somebody is raising their hand. Somebody with something not about Delaware.
Did you raise your hand earlier? No, okay.
Okay, so we'll move right into public hearing. Okay. We have a PUD in front of us for 5912 North Burdick Street, East Syracuse, New York. That was a PUD that looked at adding or allowing for high density residential, 90% market rate, 10% workforce housing at that location as it currently is. I know we've had a lot of feedback. I know there's been a lot of talk on social media. Myself and some of the councilors went to the site the other day to have a conversation with the owner there, and basically based on a lot of the public feedback, and I will say, there was a key theme kind of throughout all the feedback was the issue of traffic. I think overwhelmingly, that seemed to be the most consistent theme. And so based on that, and based on the feedback and based on the conversations we've had, the board has decided to not move forward with that PUD. So we do want to take an opportunity, as we have everybody here, because we're not considering it, we don't necessarily have to hold the public hearing. But what we're looking for is an opportunity to hear from folks for maybe not the hour and a half public hearing we've been having. But so we've gotten a lot of that feedback, especially, like I said, especially about the traffic. So what we're gonna do is the town is gonna be reaching out to both the county and the state DOT, because it's a county road and a state road intersection. And we're gonna be asking them
That's
to,
290 in Fremont that he's referencing.
290 North.
I'm sorry, thank you.
So, currently, we are doing, not a traffic study, but we are looking at, speeding along the area and on any of the town roads there. We're doing some data collection to better understand the flow of traffic. And basically, we will be reaching out to those two DOTs to tell them that we have an active problem. It's not something that is gonna get worse when we build more, that it is bad now. And that we are looking to meet with them and our state reps and some county reps to talk about a solution moving forward. And the general understanding here is that as far as these PUDs or zone changes, it's not likely the town will consider something in that area until we have something of a plan to move forward. To at least know that the state is gonna address that intersection, they're gonna address the traffic flow issues that we do have there. And in the meantime, like I said, we're doing our own studies, we're looking for any ways that we can help to alleviate it. But that would be, we're gonna not actively pursue any major developments there. But I do, just as we have everybody in the room, I wanna make sure that everyone in the room understands the current situation on North Burdick Street. So the materials direct site, as well as the site to the south, that is, has a good number of wetlands on it, but it does have some buildable space. Both of those parcels are zoned what's called commercial B. And so commercial B is our highest intensity commercial use. You can have industrial, but commercial B is the highest intensity commercial use. And I just wanted to share with everybody, so when development is proposed and they don't need a zone change or they don't want to work on a PUD with us, it's because the development they're proposing fits within the given zone. So what happens is if either of those properties are sold or considered for a development that fits within commercial B, that's not something that's gonna come to the town board, that's gonna go to the planning board. And the planning board is, they're an appointed group, but it's in many ways an administrative role. Their goal is to make sure that the development that's being proposed fits within the bounds of our laws. And it's not so much a give and take there, it's just, does it make sense? And our planning board does a great job of pushing to make every development better, make it fit the community better. But so as
Permitted use.
so I just wanted to share some of the permitted uses for the sites along North Burdick Street. So commercial businesses, only including wholesale establishments, wholly located in an enclosed building, congregate care services, gathering places such as community centers, religious establishments, libraries, schools, parks and trails, light manufacturing. If you want to learn more about that definition, you can check out the town code. Outdoor.
This is on the website.
Yeah, this is all on the website. I suggest everybody take a look. Personal services establishments like barbershops, nail salons, beauty parlors, that type of thing. Restaurants, including coffee houses, fast food, fast casual, and fine dining, as well as retail sales,
Are you
including.
talking about the property south of, Dow on the same side, the south?
So the Dow lumber site, as well as the property to the south.
I thought that was wetlands.
It is wetlands, but it's zoned commercial B. So if they find a way to make something work in the dry area, they can develop there. So, and then the last one here is retail sales. This includes grocery stores, pharmacies, department stores, specialty shops, and shops for the sale of general merchandise. And so that's actually listed out of a total of commercial A and commercial B. But commercial B, I think, is best known for gas stations. So while the town, but this board is not going to pursue any of that, and the planning board doesn't pursue development, it comes to them. if the owners of those properties seek to put a development there that fits within the commercial B zoning, that will be something that the planning board hears, and the planning board does have an opportunity for public hearings, public comment. But as we were saying before about signing up for all the agendas, that's why it's critical for anyone who is concerned about development to make sure not only you following the town board agendas, but also the planning board agendas. So if you're within a certain distance of the site, you'll get a notification in the mail when they schedule a public hearing, but there may be 3 or 4 meetings of the planning board ahead of that. And so our goal is, understanding that there's a lot of people here, and I think, maybe show of hands, whose first town board meeting is this?
Well, thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
You're
So,
welcome, we do this twice a month, you're welcome to come anytime.
but please, just, as we said, we're not gonna be pursuing any further development, and we're gonna be working with the county and the state to address the traffic issue, but please understand that if you're concerned about development along that corridor, please watch the planning board agenda so that you're well aware of what's coming, so that we can all take part in the conversation through the planning board process.
This traffic you're talking about, this is independent of this development.
Exactly.
This is totally just a traffic because it is bad there right now.
One other
So,
comment.
Counselor
Yeah.
Gonzalez and Bree and myself live in Fremont Meadows, and we're very well aware of it. We also had conversations with the supervisor and the police chief to say that, it is problematic there. At 3 weeks ago, I was parked at the light at 290 and North Burdick, and witnessed a car accident just because it was congested. The kid had no idea where to go, and we went to the around somebody. So
So there's a possibility that the county will tailor between Lee Terrace and Manlius Center Road.
yeah,
And basically, as I said, sometimes I could do a 3-point turn in my driveway just to get out and get people nice. Sometimes they'll reach, from a traffic light all the way past Elmhurst.
yeah.
People coming around the corner, so it's quadruple. since I don't
And
know.
also studying I think the police department's already on the complaints about people cutting through those streets there. That's being studied now and looked into.
Will the county ever widen North British?
So that's what we're gonna say.
So just our goal here is to communicate with folks. So what this process will likely look like is, we will send a letter to the county and the state, we'll CC our state reps, we'll CC our county reps. Likely we won't hear back for a little while. The goal is to start a conversation and let them know, hey, in our community, this is your responsibility to maintain and operate. We are asking you to seek better ways to allow for this intersection to function. And that will likely start with them doing a traffic study. So it's the town asking the county and the state to work together. This is a process, this will take time, but that's where we're starting that process now, so that, maybe in another year or two, someone else wants to develop something over there. At least we've addressed one of those major concerns of traffic, so that we can focus on the development. But that's, I can't stress this enough, it's because we had people sending in letters, talking to us, calling us, and letting us know how severe the traffic issues were. And there was another of other items about this development that people have concerns about, but we really wanted to take away from the fact that the traffic was an active problem. This wasn't, if you build it, it's gonna get worse. It's bad now, and we can't handle the new development. So I just wanna.
There's another topic, so if you're done with traffic, I have another topic, okay. So I think one of the other things that was commonly mentioned in the letters that we received was concerned about the Meadowbrook limestone sewer plant. And I like.
Can you speak louder, please?
Okay, one of the things that we also heard in the letters that we received was concern about the Meadowbrook limestone plant. And I want to let you know that we've been hearing that for a while, and we are also addressing that. And the commissioner of the wastewater treatment is going to come here next month. And so we wanted you to know that, and you can tune into that meeting as well, to explain the process of their repairs with the Meadowbrook limestone facility, so that it will have better capacity, because many of you said it couldn't handle an apartment building anyway. And we know that you guys are the ones most impacted by the smell when that happens. So we wanted you to know that we've been listening to that concern as well, and that we are, again, it's the county's responsibility, but we have been asking the county to share information about how they're managing the repairs that are happening there.
So that meeting will happen Wednesday, August 21st at 6:30 here. You can also tune in via Zoom. And again, this is the county commissioner providing an update on what the mitigation steps are to address the overflow that happens when it rains, the leakage into the system, and undercapacity.
And I know some of you also address stormwater. We do have a separate group working on watershed issues. And now we know that you are one of the places where there's an infiltration problem, so we will add that to
Yeah,
our.
exactly, one of the points in addition, one of the projects ahead of us immediately is with basically inventory, you catalog the sensitive, the quote unquote sensitive sites with respect to watershed and infiltration throughout the town, so this is definitely one of the premier items on that project. So thank all the feedback was received on that end too, so.
So I will say, we will post a town news item, Friday to make clear when that, so we'll be posting a town news item on Friday, so make sure today or tomorrow you go on, sign up for the town news, get it to your phone or get it to your cell phone. So that you can see when we post it, that you'll see how it all works and you'll be informed of when that meeting regarding the sewage treatment plant is gonna be happening. So I guess I would ask the board, if you wanna make a motion to open the public hearing,
Make a motion to waive everything.
all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
So you go to open here.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So again, we have everybody here. We don't wanna just send you away without having an opportunity to comment, but just consider the fact that we've tried to make it very clear that this PD is not going anywhere. So really what I would hope we get is just some feedback about the area, about development in the area, traffic, anything that we don't feel, that you feel maybe the town board is not aware of. Just, we'll keep it to 3 minutes apiece, and so if anybody has comments they'd like to share, I would just ask the first row first. Sir, do you?
Okay, well, are we talking about the town hall thing or the apartment building thing?
Apartment.
All right, are we gonna do any more town hall or police department stuff tonight?
No, not tonight.
All right, well then, thank you.
So anyone from the
Thank you
first
for coming.
row would like to speak?
I'll be back.
I wanna just,
Come up.
Come on up to the
There's a microphone on the podium.
We just have to because the microphone is there. Yeah,
yeah, don't have microphone.
sorry.
I'm not good at this. I, at the top of Burdick Street, across from Salmonson, across the street is Sharon Paulus. And I know for a fact, my kids are a little older, but for probably the last 30 years, we've been trying to get the town or the DOJ department to lower the speed limit on Burdick Street. For 30 years. So, need I say more? They haven't done it, so
What is it currently,
God bless.
is it currently 50 or 45?
45.
Is it 45? Yeah, 45. And then,
If folks are looking to have side conversations, if you're looking to leave, just please file out as we kind of continue our meeting here. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Really appreciate it.
which with the canal and everybody walking and the bikes and I just sit outside and, do a sign with a cross and pray to God nobody gets hit. But
So
there has been accidents actually off my driveway.
I would imagine that as we reach out and they begin a traffic study, the speed on Burdick Street will be something that is looked at.
I hope so.
At the same time, I know this board, we are very interested in trying to find a way for the kind of the entirety of North Burdick Street to at least get sidewalks, if not sidewalks and bike lanes, to try and make it more pedestrian friendly. And in doing that, we would undoubtedly consider lowering the speed limit as well.
Okay, or bike lanes on Burdick Street?
It would require some, change of the road, but there's actually one
Change of
study,
property?
there's one, there
There's a
would
study
be,
now.
there's a study
Yeah.
now by the Syracuse
Yeah,
Metropolitan Transportation Coalition.
SMTC.
Yeah.
Syracuse Metropolitan Transportation
Council, and to make the town more connected, so the 3 villages would be connected, and then anyone in the town around the villages could access and get where they wanted to go on a bike, walking. However, Fremont came up from way up by Pine Road, all the way down to get, walk the tops if you wanted to, or bike the tops. So several people came to smoke a couple months ago who are avid bike riders, and, it's very difficult to bike down North Burdick without the car flying by, even on certain
Right,
parts of
from the
Fremont
canal,
Road.
because they take that to go to the canal.
So they'll look at that and then they'll propose like what changes on property would have to happen, and then there would be discussions with homeowners if that had to happen. But it's not saying anything's gonna happen to somebody's property, it's just a study to say, hey, if you want this, here's what would have to happen, and here's how we would achieve that, and are you willing to either sell your property or whatever has to occur. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That sounds real good. Get 'em out of here.
Do you get ready? What's your name?
Kathleen.
Thank you.
You can walk to the court if you want.
I'm all set. I'm on the sheet. We're good. We're good. Sarah?
You're good.
Okay, anyone else in the front row would like to make a comment?
Yeah. Name's Jack Moffett. I live at the corner of Wilson and Burdick. And there's a tree that's on the CSX tracks that started to fall, leaning against another tree, but if it goes, it's gonna end up in Burdick Street right across from Dow Lumber. So I've contacted Mark Olson about it. Nothing's been done.
Well, what I will do is I will forward your concerns to at least the highway department, so they can take a look. If it's something that we can take care of, we will. If not, we'll try to reach out to the relevant agency.
Yeah, well, I think he reached out to CSX, but they work as fast as that. They did the railroad tracks, the wood will be petrified.
Thank you. Okay, anyone? Yep.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Metz, and I live at the traffic light of North Burdick.
Oh, wow.
Manlius Road. And I got this letter a few weeks ago. And at the last minute, I started doing some research. And I pretty closely flipped out. So I want to say thank you very much. I am so grateful you're not going ahead with that project. And a lot of it does have to do with traffic, but I've lived at that house for 34 years. And it was my American dream. My parents lived in Fremont Hills, and they built their house in about 1967 or 8. And I watched the growth over all those years while my parents lived there, and I lived there for a couple of years. When I was divorced, I lived in Watertree of DeWitt for a number of years, and then had the opportunity to sell that and buy the house that, from what I was told, was the farmhouse of the water tract that Root bought and then began to develop that whole area. So it's a special house. It's beautiful to the area. And I have dedicated myself, after 6 months of living there, one of my twin boys was hit by a car going across the road. And since then, I have been developing that house for a little paradise for our family, because Paul was traumatically brain injured. And he came home and lived with me for a number of years, and he's now in the state system. But he still comes home, and hidden behind the fence is our paradise that he still comes home to. And I have done, it's just been a super labor of love to put in all the time and effort to changing the landscape. And I just wanted you all to know that I very often hear from people, either they're rolling down the windows of their car and yelling, I've been driving past this intersection for over 20 years and we think it is just gorgeous. So it fills up a little portion of my heart to know that my property, and because of my son, that I have made a difference in that suburban neighborhood. And to think that what appeared to be a 4-story hotel was going to be built in the neighborhood was just devastating. So I just want to thank you and thank everybody that wrote in and came to early meetings. If there was an early one, I never knew about it. I just want to thank you for everybody's effort and concern over the development of that.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone from the second row? And could you promote the
Yes.
persons that are hand up?
Hi, thank you for not going ahead with this project. The traffic that you're talking about state roads and county roads. Are they gonna look into the side roads? Because Lee Terrace is a racetrack.
Yes, so the police are already taking a look at those, trying to gather as much data as we can. But I have no doubt that as the traffic study begins for the state and the county roads, they'll be looking at those side roads as well.
Yeah, because what happens, as you know, they back up from the light, they take a shortcut down our street and they're going excessive speed. We have young children there, and we have grandkids that come to the neighborhood, so it's pretty dangerous. So I appreciate you looking at that. Thank
Could
you.
you state your name, please?
Yes, it's Bob Stankiewicz. I'm at 208 Lee Terrace, directly behind the new project.
Okay, Tracy, hopefully we can hear you. You're up next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Indeed.
Okay, hi, my name is Tracy. I live in Fremont Meadows. I had a great concern for the apartment complex that was going to go in, so I am also pleased that it's not, and I understand the traffic. Was there any studies done with the schools? Because I know that they're putting an apartment complex in Manoa, which could have an influx of students. Was there a study done for this apartment complex that could go in? Because if you could potentially have 100 kids enter our school system, and I think one of the draws to our school system is that it is a smaller school, and they can offer a lot of pilot programs that other schools can't. So I just wanted to know if you did like a study with the schools of how great of an influx of students there could potentially be.
So there wasn't a specific study done. ESM is aware of the project or was aware of the project. And I did have a meeting recently or earlier this year with the superintendent, and they made it very clear that there's no concerns about growth within the ESM school district. And also as another way to make sure that we're not keeping anybody out of the conversation, we have set up what's called the Development Planning Committee. This is where we bring in the schools, the villages, fire, police, all the relevant stakeholders in the community to look at the impacts of a project. So as we move forward, any of these larger scale residential developments are going to go through a pretty rigorous process to make sure that everybody who's going to be impacted by it is at least aware of it and has time to give feedback. So absolutely, we try to work with the schools as closely as we can and make sure that they're aware of anything that's going on in town.
In the school districts, I had conversations with both Fayetteville, Manlius, and East Syracuse, Manoa. And with Micron coming to the area, all the school districts are very aware of the fact that there will be residents in their areas, and that for ESM in particular, most of ESM is in the town of DeWitt. So they're gonna have quite a bit of development because they have way more capacity on that side of their town than we do in the town of Manlius. But all the school districts are very aware of the fact that there will be an influx of residents to the region over the next 10 years and are making preparations for that.
Okay, thank you very much. My husband also has a question, John Spilka, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, just to make sure that I'm clear, with the traffic study that's going to occur for the potential project with the apartment complex, essentially it's on hold. It's not that it's dead, so to speak. It's on hold. Is that correct? Until whatever the outcome of that study is, positive or negative. Am I wrong on that? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So it is technically on hold. I would imagine, given the state of real estate with Micron coming, that the owner's not going to wait around for us to solve the traffic problem there. I would imagine they're going to seek other opportunities. But yes, the idea is that we're not going to actively consider major developments that we have the ability to consider or not consider. as we move forward until such a time that we at least know that there's a plan in place to address the traffic. And again, if everyone's following the agendas, you'll know as soon as we've got something that it's gonna be on, for a presentation, and everyone's welcome to come in and then also weigh in based on feedback.
Perfect. Yeah,
as
that's
the
just the clarification I needed.
As the supervisor mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, if with the current zone, if you listed everything on there, if it fits within that zone, it won't come to us. We only deal with zone changes and like the PUD law, which stands for Planned Urban Development, is fairly new in our zoning code. But a zone change is the most extreme legislative act that a town board can take, according to everything the lawyers tell me. And so this would have fallen to us, but it is already zoned CB. So the person or the developer who owns that project could seek another project that would go to the planning board that fits within that zone. And they can't just say no, because they just decided they don't want it. If it fits within the rules of the zone, the project moves forward. We can't just say no arbitrarily, because then we could get sued. So
Right,
if
no,
you see it
understood.
on your agenda that something has moved forward, just remember, we didn't do it. The developer has that right, and they can take it, that's how it's zoned, it's zoned CB. So you can learn more about that, and that's why you want to stay tuned with an agenda, text alerts and emails, because then you can go to the public hearing at the planning board and tell them how you feel, and it hopefully influence it so that the project that does get developed is one that you wouldn't find so undesirable. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
thank you. Yep, that makes sense. Thank you.
all very much. So just another reminder, anyone else who's joining us by Zoom, if you want to use the raise hand function, we'll get you in line to make a comment. So anyone else in the second row there?
I just have a question of clarification.
Could you come up?
Cheryl Matt, Fayetteville, Colin, just a question of clarification. So you're saying if there's a piece of property and it's zoned in a certain way, and a person who owns that property wants to do something on that property that fits that zoning, they don't have to come to you first, they can go right to the planning board, is that true?
Yes.
So just make sure that's in the minutes, thank you.
Just so everybody knows that's how New York State town law works.
Yeah.
Anyone else in the second row? Could you come on up?
We have a microphone on the podium, so everyone tuning in via Zoom in here, if you speak from the audience and they can't hear, we try to include
But
everybody.
you guys need microphones because we can't hear you.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, we are exploring that, Cheryl. We are getting quotes for microphones. So we've heard your feedback and we are exploring that solution for you.
So hi, my name is Diane Jessen and I'm from Fremont Meadows, out Laurel Drive. So I just have a question and clarification. So you had said that this is zone commercial B. And then I tried to write down some of the things that fall into that. I didn't hear housing or housing development. Is that, I mean, is this considered to be a housing type thing?
No, it's it's commercially zoned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
no, I
so
know,
that's
but
why
I'm
they
just
needed,
doing it.
that's why they needed the zone changes.
Right,
The
so that's what
apartments
they're
are
gonna
not
try
allowed
to
in
do.
there.
So they're gonna try to get this changed so that it fits in, this.
They tried to change it,
Yeah,
and we are denying the change at this
Okay.
time, based on feedback and other information that we've got.
but they could still,
They can develop the property within the current zone, so whatever under CB is described that a business could be built, that any type of business that is described under that zone, find that on our website, it will tell you all the different types.
right, but,
They
but
can't sell that property to a developer who wants to build something that
like a
falls,
housing units.
not housing units, no.
But like a shopping mall.
Yeah.
It could have potentially been housing if we had proceeded with this and granted them the zone change.
Okay. that's
Since
what I
that
just
is no
wanted to-
longer moving
Yeah, I
forward,
just wanted to be clear on that.
yeah.
Thank
And if you just search up, if you just Google the Town of Manlius zoning code, it's like the first thing, Town of Manlius, it's E code 360, and everything is in there.
Okay.
You can search within the document.
Thanks for your help.
Just be clear, the commercial zoning, it explicitly is not for residential. Okay, great. Okay, anyone else from the second row? Anyone from the third row?
Cynthia Couchy, 134 Wilson Drive. Can everybody hear me? My first question is, was the developer the one who pulled this plan, or did you say no zone change?
Oh, we said no.
Okay. Now, I live within the 1,000-foot radius and got a letter from the town clerk that said to write to you with questions and concerns. Do you, I emailed, and because I'm a little obsessive, I delivered a paper copy to town hall. I don't know if it was just me, but I thought I might be expecting a thank you for your letter. We'll address that at the board meeting, whatever. Is that something you do, or you just take these letters in and?
Generally speaking, when we receive this volume, it's very difficult to be able to get to every response, but if that's something we can try to work into the process, likely if it comes to the town clerk and the town clerk can handle those, it is difficult when you have 7 board members and.
Sure, I wasn't looking for a specific result, just
Yeah.
yes, we got your
We
letter.
got it, yeah.
That would be good. I also went to the focus group today for communication within the town, so that's another reason why I'm asking.
Yeah.
And Matt, you enjoyed that process?
It was very interesting.
Good, we're really excited to hear how the results of those.
Yes, and I want to thank everybody that's here that I ran into while I was walking around and handing out the flyers, so they were alerted to this process that was going on, because not, as you saw today, not everybody knows what was going on in the town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the third row?
Stand right here. My name's Phil.
If you could come to, we should have a microphone there.
My name is Phil Frex. I'm the one that wrote the 4-page letter. It's just the young lady said here, I think, one of the, as important as the traffic is the Meadowbrook limestone treatment. That is overloaded currently. I've lived in that street for 63 years. I know everything is about the plant. It's overloaded, so anything with how it is, gotta consider that. And for those that don't know, I have a hard to speak. The limestone Meadowbrook plant handles the town of Whit, the town of Manlius, our town of Pompey, and some Syracuse. So anything that's loaded that plant comes down South America, where the load. Okay, keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the third row?
Hi, I'm Katie Mooney from Osborne Drive. My question though is about, first of all, thank you for not putting the PUD through. My question is, you have referred multiple times for us to be very aware of what's occurring with not only the town board, but the planning board. So my question is in relation to the 2 properties, the Dow Lumber property and the property just south of it that we spoke of earlier. Are you aware of any projects or proposals or items that are currently on the planning board agenda for those?
No, nothing currently in front of us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else from the third row? And up against the wall, fourth row? Okay, anyone standing over here? Oh, come on.
I live on Canana. I live on North Burger Street between Lee Terrace and Manlius Center Road 290 for 39 years. We moved there in 85. Traffic was not bad, and all of a sudden we started building everything in between. Anyway, bottom line is traffic is quadrupled, as I already heard me before. When the traffic light is red, the traffic goes all the way past Dow Lumber, and for me to even get out, sometimes I have to do a 3-point turn, and people are nice enough to let me know. And this project that you now turn down is a common sense decision, in my opinion. My point is this traffic study that you're doing, my wife and I were gonna, do something with the house, fix up and all that stuff. Right now, we can't even open up the front windows because of the traffic noise and everything else. So my question is, this traffic study, would they ever there's only like between Lee Terrace and Manlius Center Road, there's like 6 houses. So basically, are they ever gonna widen the road? or put a turning lane in.
So
Which
that's,
basically, who's gonna wanna buy my house? I'd like to know that, so I can put it for sale sign.
so, sir,
Who's gonna wanna buy it? I mean, basically,
we don't know. That's really gonna come down to what the DOTs, and the county and the state work together. And they'll present a plan, we'll take feedback on that plan. So as we learn, we'll be sharing that information with everybody.
so basically, if they widen the road or a turning lane, we'll be right back and square one like it is now, but this traffic.
I don't think we can
situation.
really speculate on any of that, because we have to have these studies done first to tell us what's gonna.
Back when we first moved in, they were talking about a 690 bypass where
Oh, yeah.
people can go right across, but now Boot Lumber, Dow Lumber, Boot Brothers have the golf course and all that stuff, so that can be sold and whatever like that, but to alleviate the traffic. Is the town gonna build any other housing other than Minoa and all that stuff for the upcoming Micron?
So we currently have 2 PDs that we've approved at different spots within the town. At this point, we don't have any other developer who's reached out about developing any further housing. I do know that senior housing is still one of our hopes is to find another opportunity for a project there. But as of right now, there's nothing that we've got on our radar for anything new that isn't already approved.
So the commercial property that you're talking about just south of Dow Lumber, with its zone, as you said it is, you said you would have no decision making on whatever went in there, it would be the planning board.
Yes.
So before the planning board makes the approval of that case, wouldn't that be brought to the taxpayers again to make the decision? Because we pay everybody's salary and the taxpayers more or less make the decision, don't they?
Yeah, so the planning board does have public hearings on every major site plan.
Okay, they just wouldn't put it under the rug and build something without the taxpayers.
So can I just clarify something, because I hear a lot of people, these aren't the town's projects, and the town doesn't develop and build these things, they are commercial corporate entities that purchase land and develop land. It's what our responsibility is to make sure that has the least amount of negative impact to the community where they're building it, and that it falls within our laws and our codes. So they're not our projects, and I would just be remiss if I, allow, when people say that, to not clarify this, right? So if somebody wants to go in there and it comes to the planning board's got to just check off that they're meeting all of the requirements that are put forth in the town's code.
Like it's set back enough from the road, it's not too big for the lot they're building on, it's not too big for the acres of the property.
If we have design standards, they meet the design standards, if it requires water retention, it has water retention, those types of things is what our responsibility is to these projects. And I take heat because people tell me, you can stop it, you're the town board. And I say, no, if it falls within these parameters, we can't stop it. Maybe public pressure to the company who's gonna build it can. I know that public pressure stopped nice and easy on Walman Road years ago. If people aren't familiar with that. That wasn't the town that stepped in and told them you're not doing this.
The same developer that was proposing this PUD, the first month that John and I were in office along with Heather and Elaine, our very first month, they proposed an apartment complex all the way up on the border of Chittendale, like a whole apartment, which really wasn't an ideal location, and they came to us for a zone change. And I was opposed to it, I was planning on voting no, but everyone around there just was so, like even more than tonight, there were people there. And it was surreal, because I was so new, it was so interesting to have so many people come out. And it was Brandon Jacobs, the same developer, and he pulled the project. We never even voted because everyone was so, just so categorically opposed to it. So that can work, but we represent you. We aren't up here facing you down. We're standing with you. We just happen to be literally opposing you right now, but we represent you so that we're not always telling these developers what they can and can't do. You voted for us, or maybe you didn't, but we got elected to represent you so that we make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. The only projects we're interested in is building a new town hall for the employees here and for the police officers. But again, that's because we are citizens just like you, and we want to make sure that the employees that work for all of us have what they need. So I know, I'm gonna just add to others for 10 more seconds, I'll stop. The way that politics and government is in 2024, like sitting up here is very weird. It's very, very strange, because people email us and they're so angry, and then I'll see you guys at Target the next week, and I'm like, hey, like, we're all still neighbors, and we're all working together to try to develop our town the best we can. That's why we wrote a comprehensive plan. We ran on that in 2019, so we're doing our very best, and we're listening, I promise, we're listening. We're not here, we're not on the developer side, to Mike's point. We're not. We're on your side, and we're just trying to make sure we follow the law. Does that make sense? I got that. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else in the back row? Anyone else on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. Anyone over here?
Notes to Josh. I won't say a word about the project that's now. Anyway, I just wanted to make a comment about roads in general. A lot of people don't understand the limitations that that a municipality has with respect to roads that run through it. The problem with Burdick, I'm not talking about Burdick Street, but I actually delivered Meals on Wheels to East Syracuse this morning, and I went through that intersection. It's a choke point. It's a choke point like the intersections in the villages of Manlius and Fayetteville. The more development occurs, the more people that live in the east, for example, the more those roads get overburdened, and the more traffic there is, and the more problematic everyone's life is. But what I was going to say was that, for example, I live near 2K Road. 2K Road neighbors, people that fronted on 2K Road, wanted to have the speed limit reduced on 2K Road, lower than what it is. They wanted to have a stop sign at the intersection of Sweet, 2K, and Hybrid Street as you come northwest up 2K. And I think it's State Road. I think it's State Road. Okay. They said, no, we're not going to do that. We don't want to limit the capacity of 2K Road to have sufficient traffic flow through there. We don't want to reduce the speed limit because it'll screw up our planning on traffic in general. So the town had no ability to do anything about that dilemma. And the same thing applies to county roads, state roads, federal roads. It's all complicated. And traffic studies obviously are important, but you add another 100,000 people or whatever projected to come via the Lycron project, and we haven't seen anything yet. Unless they get a handle on the overall road network in central New York and come up with some comprehensive plan to make changes, it's only going to get worse and worse. So thanks for your time.
Anyone else standing?
I'm Elizabeth Merriam, and I live in Fayetteville. And maybe you've been working on this, but the sidewalk situation for the FM road, is that something you're considering ever? I see sometimes when it's dark at 5 o'clock, the kids from Wellwood walking along the road, and there is no shoulder, it's treacherous. And I just was wondering if anything's in the go about that.
So we have our neighborhood sidewalk program that we actually just approved to study for Enders Road.
Right.
And I don't know if we've identified someone from the community to lead that effort, but it's been on our radar, and at some point, we're gonna be looking for members of the community that are interested in getting FM Road a sidewalk. And we'll start the process there, begin with petition passing, and it's a pretty involved process because it's an intensive project. But if you're interested, shoot us an email and we can get.
So do you know of other neighbors that also are worried about that? Because it needs a small group to kind of.
Like how small? I mean, like half a dozen people. Okay, I will see if I can work on it.
Okay,
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And if you do get those people together, you would email me, because I chair the sustainability committee, and we kept kind of taking ownership of the sidewalk program, so please feel free to.
Okay, I've gotta get my tech work. But, you know, it just would bring, I think, two faithful families together, and it would be great for people trying to walk with their children and so on.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, one last call for comments?
One more.
Hello, I'm Emily Lee and I live on Wilson Drive. So just to comment on the traffic, I've lived there for 5 years at our house, but I grew up in Fremont. I left and I chose to come back to this area. And when I first lived, when I first moved into our house, I noticed how people cut from 290 to Burdick Street. And then just like, once they come around that curve, it's just like a straightaway. And I have 3 young children. The area is becoming more of young families. And I know myself and other neighbors have called. We've had the Manlius police come out and do the little, like you're going too fast. And I spoke with the police officer and he said, go ahead and call, give the highway department a call. Cause I said, can't we reduce the speed limit? Because 30 is fast for a residential area. There's no stop sign between 290 and Burdick when you're going down Wilson. There's no deal, there's no, and I was asking him about like a slow down, children at play. I don't know if you've seen those signs in neighborhoods, like drive like your children live here. And I called the highway department and the woman said, we don't have those signs. And then as I turn on to Brooklyn today, I see the diamond lit, the children at play. I'm like, you do have these signs. Can you please at least, just consider putting something like that up? Like I said, lots of young children, it was an older community and now younger children, younger families are coming in. And there's a woman who owns a home daycare 2 doors down. So there's just a lot of children and I just want to make it a safe place for.
Well, so what I'll say is we're doing the data collection so that we know the right way to go about managing traffic there. And we did approve we approved some money from the ARPA funds for speed calming measures. So we have some flashing signs that are gonna be rotating around different neighborhoods. So we're already taking a look. Once we have the data, I imagine myself, some folks from the police department and the highway superintendent will sit down, and we'll come up with a strategy about how we can try with smaller things and then escalate as needed.
Right, because that's it as like a temporary measure, but like, I'm not gonna go 50 miles past one of those signs, but once it's away, like sure, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so.
That,
thank
the
you.
sign you passed on Brooklyn, just as a point of clarification, we are in the village, so the village must have those signs, but it's quite possible that our highway department for the town doesn't. So they weren't lying to you or anything, that's a village sign, but we could look at getting some.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't know if this is the right place. My name's Gloria Wagner, I live at Lake Terrace. 2 things, I'm very excited about if you're gonna put a bike lane in, that would be great. For bikers, we brought our grandchildren down Burdick Street and all that. My husband and I have been taking this route, but we have to cross Burdick Street. And when we're down there near the Erie Canal, and sometimes it's nearly impossible to cross because see, the cars are, if you gotta go right on red, I mean, they're gonna fly around and then they gotta stop. There's really no warning. And we find it difficult sometimes to cross, of course, not when there's not a lot of traffic, but when there is a lot of traffic, it's very difficult. I'm concerned for the children that do this. And then the second thing I'd like to bring to your attention, I've been riding my bike for years down Burdick Street to come from the canal, because it's nice. We have the historic Erie Canal right there, and we can get on it, whatever. And when we go between the medical center and Burdick, down Lumber, there's 2 water holes like this on the side of the road. They're pretty deep. If you get your tire caught in there, which I know my girlfriend did, you will flip your bike. There's 2 of them. You can see them. I don't know. Are you a biker?
Yes,
Bikers?
I'm a bike eater.
Yeah.
I run on Burdick Street, I'm not a biker, but I'm a runner, and I almost went right in it and would have flipped on my face.
Can't they put some kind of rubber or something?
We'll have so we just have to determine whether it's a county DOT issue because of where it's in the right of way or if it's a property owner issue. But I will definitely take a look into that.
I'm quite aware of it, but if you get people from around the area that are not around the area and they're coming down, they're gonna flip their bike.
If I could ask you a favor, and also just as a plug for the SMTC study, so the idea behind the SMTC study is how to connect people without cars, how to connect the villages, and we want people to do what you and your husband are doing, and me and myself and my friends do, which is try to avoid driving and use our bikes to get around as much as possible. So on August 8th at Manlius Village Hall, I think the hours are 6 to 8, they're presenting the plan, and what they need and what they're requesting from all the municipalities, I know the villages have all kind of pumped out on social media, and we're about to do the same, is feedback on the real practical things that a planner might not know about. You know, like you and your husband have been riding these roads for a long time and can provide information as I have, and as many others have. And so this study is being, what they have so far is being presented on August 8th for feedback. So please find, it's an open house format, so if you have any time, right there.
It's for safety for the community, the children, you know, the kids.
Yeah.
It's a fun place to bring your kids on the canal. I brought my grandchildren from Lee Terrace down there and my hurts my throat.
Yeah, well, in your description too, particularly where the canal towpath crossings are,
Yeah.
which are supposed to be, they are well marked. And when there's a lot of just driver behavior, they don't understand what they're supposed to do.
They don't.
You know, and
When you come from, say, when we come from Coles, let's say Coles, and you're gonna come around the corner, they just go and sometimes they stop and sometimes they don't.
I've almost been hit and there's.
I'll tell you, when I purposely stopped there, because I used that canal and bike on there, and when I stop, people behind me are pissed.
Yeah.
They do.
And it's terrible.
There's gonna be an
Yeah, so we do wanna work with the states to try to figure something out. We have seen those in other areas that are well lit and reflective and everything, and I'd love to see that over there. And probably enforce.
We'll have to talk with the, no.
Yeah. So thank you for that, yeah.
So just some awareness and thank you, everybody. We have a great neighborhood. We gotta keep it like that. Thank you very much.
And the August 8th meeting, for anybody who's a biker, that's great. Great meeting.
Okay, any other comments?
Good evening, Class Secretary. I don't understand with the zoning, what it's zoned for, and you can only control so much they build within, but isn't it up to the planning board to address traffic if whatever they're putting in would draw a lot more cars?
It is part of the consideration.
So there is still.
It's part of the consideration, but it's not a black and white issue.
Okay. And one, thank you to the, I missed your name earlier. We see you outside gardening all the time. My kids love it. The house is beautiful.
Okay, any other comments before we close the public hearing?
Why isn't anyone from the planning board here?
Can you go up there just so the people at home can hear you?
Why isn't anybody from the planning board here?
So we tend to not attend each other's meetings.
Why?
Because we have separate concerns. We deal with zone changes and they deal with site plan overview. This board appoints that planning board as one member every 7 years, or one member a year for a 7-year term, and they focus primarily on site plan.
I'm pretty sure I see our planning. and
Yeah, some of them
chairs
tune
on
in
the meeting,
remotely,
so,
and so some of them I think are watching.
Okay.
And they, I think we try to kind of respect the
It
autonomy.
just seems like everything keeps going back, well, it's the planning board, it's the planning board, it's the planning board. And they're not here.
Well, we appoint them, not all of them, because some of them have been on there for 7 years, so they would have been appointed by a previous board, and so we've really delegated responsibilities to them. We've had certain things that we've added to their plate over the last 4 or 5 years, where we said this is really more of a planning board issue, so we work and communicate together throughout the day, and we get minutes from their meetings. But we kind of just try to respect each other's autonomy. So like I've gone to a couple meetings and I think that they feel more comfortable when I'm not sitting in the front row staring at them. So we try to just keep.
It's also just, it's standard practice for New York State. Yeah.
Zoning board, sir.
Yeah, we got a zoning board member here.
Okay, any final comments? Okay,
I'll second.
all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Did you guys all learn something here today? Was it informative?
By show of hands, who's signing up for the text messages?
You better sign up.
That's not enough hands.
Oh, Valerie just texted me. William, can you let us know Valerie's watching? William. Okay, you should be
We can just bring it back to the meeting, plenty of other stuff to talk about. If you'd like to have a side conversation, if you just take that outside. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so next up, we have the town hall building assessment proposals. So we did receive 3 proposals, one from C2AE, one from VIP, and one from Bell Spina. So as was discussed earlier, there's a pretty big discrepancy between some of the pricing on these. I know, so we've tried to make as many of the reference costs as possible. I know personally, I really do favor the VIP proposal. I appreciated a lot of what they put in there about the context of what we'll be doing. And I will be honest, I enjoyed the meeting that we had with them. They seemed very engaged. They brought a pretty significant amount of their senior staff in. But that's where I'm at. I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions or anything you want to talk about.
I can add a comment as well. So I reached out to the C2AE references. We received 4 references in total. I was able to connect only with one. I did not get a call back or email from the others yet. The one was positive, although they're still in the process of their project. So it's still a work in progress. So what I heard was favorable, but it isn't at completion yet. So we don't have input on a completed project from them.
And did you get a hold of some references too?
Yes, everybody I talked to regarding VIP was very, it's just pretty general stuff. We went through this when we did our engineering bid. I can't imagine you put the reference on there that's not necessarily, but it definitely, I was very reassured that they have everything that we will need for this project.
Based on the drastic difference in prices that C2A came in with, I kind of felt that they were kind of responsive in a way. And I kind of felt like they were going to come back with change orders and then coming up with cost overruns. And plus the proposal just didn't necessarily have as much meat, for lack of a better term, it didn't have. The timeline was nice, it was, but I just felt like they wasn't gonna necessarily give us as much detail as what we were gonna get from the other 2 proposals. And I said their costs, it was very low. And it kind of made me feel like they were underbidding, and they did have the add-ons in there. And it was gonna potentially make it be more or the same amount or more, and the change orders potentially coming in through that. I also did enjoy it, but I did favor the VIP Architecture Associates proposal as well. Collins was good too, but I didn't like VIP's more.
Yeah, I just echo what Melissa said and say that, you know, I initially thought C280, you know, was, it catches your eye because it's really affordable, but I feel like I would like most detail that we can get regarding what this building needs, and also I think that's what the residents want. So I would like to go with a company that has a really good reputation, one, two, that it really laid out, a plan to deliver what we're looking for, this type of, stuff.
Yeah, we've got, with everything we wanna do with the new town hall, it's come back again and again and again. Well, what about the existing building? What about the existing building? So I don't think that this is the place to cut corners. I looked at the proposals and I know it's the more expensive one, but it's a company that's so reputable. Everyone trusts their ability to do a good job and they've got such a great track record locally. I think it's worth that price. And, you know, I can't think of another word besides speedy either off the top of my head, but I want
Robust.
robust. As someone who doesn't eat meat, I was trying to think of another word. But I think it would be really interesting to have a total revamp. I don't want an update. I want to know everything else that when we go back to the public, we can say, this is everything you could have ever wanted to know about this building. I want those answers on all that information so that we can make an informed decision moving forward.
And that's exactly what we've been hearing from our residents, and again, it's more about this building, more about this. Yeah, you know, it seems to be exactly what the residents are saying.
I would entertain a motion.
A motion to approve the town hall building assessment proposal from BIP Architecture Associates in an amount not to exceed $54,450 after attorney review.
I will happily second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I believe that they're a great company, very civic oriented region, great history. People there, and I think we're looking for the people. We just really have, like, you know, Councilor Lisa said, a thorough and complete analysis is what we want.
They're in the paper, we have these in the paper today, their old headquarters is that kind of strange building, or it's a formal building, but a strange place, it's stuck right in between 81 and 690, that little triangle. Yeah, so they just redid it and the pictures aren't in the Councilor piece that comes today, it's beautiful, so they definitely.
So next up, we have a resolution that Councilor Tanya would like to.
Proclamation, so for the past couple of years, we've been doing this. So this will be the third year now. It's a proclamation recognizing July 26th to be National Americans with Disabilities Act Awareness Day in the town of Manlius. So proclamation declares July 26th to be National Americans with Disabilities Act Awareness Day in the town of Manlius as part of the nationwide celebration and commitment to the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. Whereas on July 26, 1990, President George H.W. Bush signed into law the Americans with Disabilities Act to ensure the civil rights of people with disabilities. And whereas this important civil rights law prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public. And whereas the ADA has expanded opportunities for people with disabilities by reducing barriers and changing perceptions and increasing full participation in community life. And whereas the whole promise of the ADA to ensure people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else will only be reached if we remain committed to continue our efforts to fully implement the ADA. And whereas the town of Manlius recognizes the essential contributions of individuals with disabilities and that the passing of the ADA only started the work to support individuals with disabilities in our community. And whereas the town of Manlius acknowledges there is so much work that needs to be done and is reaffirming the principles of equality and inclusion and committing our efforts to reach full ADA compliance. And whereas Disability Pride Month occurs in the United States every July to commemorate the passing of the landmark Americans with Disabilities Act. And whereas on the 34th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the town of Manlius celebrates and recognizes the progress that has been made in the installation and opening of the first fully accessible boat launch on the Old Erie Canal, City of Sora Park at Colesburg in 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Manlius proclaims July 26, 2024 to be National Americans with Disabilities Act Awareness Day as we strive to further advance equity, dignity, access, and inclusion. And I think it's very appropriate that we're doing this in this building that we continuously said we need to operate in the ADA and compliance.
moving right along, we have the appointment of a planning and development clerk. So this is in a very complicated way, helping shore up our staffing needs in the planning and development, but also the town clerk's office, with the departure of our former town clerk. So does anybody have any questions? Good. Okay, let's run motion.
So
I didn't say.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve Cynthia, is it Arroyo? To the position of clerk one, for the planning and development department, at a salary of $39,000 effective August 5th, 2020.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So, I'd like to thank Tom Winters, our code enforcement officer, for hanging out with us to make sure that we hired Cynthia.
Cynthia's on call too.
Oh,
Congratulations.
how's it going, Cynthia? Look forward to seeing you on August 5th. Okay, next up.
Sounds very excited for that.
Yes. Appointment of the court attendant.
So So court attendants are the people who do security at court night. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Thomas Bingham to the position of court attendant at the rate of $52 per hour.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up, so this is the fun one. So this is the standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials. So it's part as the fact that all of the elected officials in the town are also state employees. We must do our job in reporting our day-to-day activities at the beginning of each of our terms. And so what we have is something that our town manager prepared so that we can authorize that and get that sent over.
Motion to approve the standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials as presented.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up, so we have a proposed hydrant on Apple Tree Ridge. This is pretty standard. We get this pretty often from Aqua. They tell us, hey, we want to put a hydrant there, and we usually assume that they're telling us exactly what they need to do. So, any questions on this one?
That's great. Studied the math, it's great. I'm glad we're able to prove it.
Great.
Okay, hydrants, wherever we do.
Okay. So you made. Don't mind.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, so next up, we have the SPO agreements. These are the special patrol officers that we have in our schools. These in particular are for the FM district. And so at a previous meeting, we approved some CIRO agreements, and we also adopted a memo that we would be sending over to the schools to make sure that they were aware of some of the changes we were looking for in the SPO agreements. For quite a while, the CIRO and SPO program has been a cost to the town, and our hope is to get together with the schools and find a way to get on a path so at least that it's cost neutral for the town. And we've had great conversations. So these SPO agreements do contain what we put in that memo. So it's an increase in the amount of money we have for equipment each year, as well as an allowance for any vehicles that they're using. So, and as of right now, we still need to approve these one at a time.
Okay, Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve this, approve the supervisor to sign the SPO agreement between the town of Manlius and the Fayetteville Manlius School District for Officer Pierce.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve you to sign the SPO agreement between the town of Manlius and the Fayetteville Manlius School District for Officer Winter.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the supervisor to sign the SPO agreement between the town of Manlius and the FM School District for Officer Damon.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, carries.
And lastly, I'd like to make a motion to approve the supervisor to sign the SPO agreement between the town of Manlius and the FM School District for Officer Hack.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So I will say, this 2013 Ford pickup that we are looking to declare a surplus has been, I would say, a pretty consistent source of headaches in our town hall, specifically for anyone in town that does any of the maintenance that we have. This is, at the end of its life, no value to us, so we're declaring a surplus.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the town to declare the town's 2013 Ford pickup truck as surplus.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Then, so I'll give a little background on this next piece. These are budget transfers for July 2024. So it's been a pretty standard practice at the town of Manlius to make a whole laundry list of adjustments to the budget at the end of the year to kind of keep it consistent with what actually happened. And through some trainings that the board members have attended, that our controllers attended, the controller let us know that they would like that to happen more frequently. So rather than trying to really jump in with both feet and start trying to do it every month or every meeting, we're taking an opportunity. We've taken a look at the finance committee at the current budget, where there's any overages or under. We're trying to just adjust it so that the budget, as best as possible, reflects the current condition, and it allows for the changes that have made due to things costing more or less or anything like that. So this is something, again, usually do right at the end of the year. But again, we're gonna try to work this into as many of our meetings as possible, so that as we make decisions, the budget, if there's any modifications that are necessary, are reflected in the current budget to keep us honest. So again, this is gonna be a fun one. So someone who is not afraid of saying a bunch of numbers.
I'm with the fund. Motion to transfer funds in the amount of $30 from account B 005.820.401 planning office supplies to B 00. Do you have to say all this? How about as described?
Yes.
Alright.
Really?
You can do the next one. B 005.8020.402, all the way from 1 to 2. Planning, seminars and conferences.
And I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Sarah, why don't I do the next one and we can all.
Well, go
Motion
ahead.
carries.
Okay. Motion to transfer funds in the amount of $169 from account A005.1220.400 for contractual to A005.1110.100 for personal services.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, carries.
They might be good.
Yeah, you
Okay.
did a long one.
I'll make a motion to transfer funds in the amount of $10 from account 800-5.1410.401 clerk's office supplies to 800-5.1410.404 court versus clerk books and publications.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I switched that out there.
All right. I can do the next one, I've been practicing, okay. Motion to transfer funds in the amount of $361 from account A005.1410.402 clerk seminars conferences to A005.1410.405 clerk information technology.
So I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, carries.
Motion to transfer funds in the amount of $30,000 from account A005.3120.200 police department equipment to A005.3120.104 police department training days.
So I'll second, and as a reminder, this was surplus equipment was sold, right? And then we.
Yeah, so actually,
It was for the training.
yeah, so there was, because the contract was adopted after the first of the year, there were some discrepancies, and this is us, again, this is not us solving that budget problem, but it's us showing the comptroller and the public that we are working towards balancing that budget. Oh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
All right, can I read it home?
Yeah.
Motion to transfer funds in the amount of $3,500 from account A005.8020.401 supervisor contractual services to A005.1220.400 supervisor contractual.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we did notice that we had added a new contractual services line, and different charges were going to different lines, so we saw that. Okay, let's see, next up, supervisor report.
Okay, so this time I did read it, so I will make a motion to approve the supervisor.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same? Motion carries. Then we're gonna have the approval of the minutes for July 10th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 10th, 2024. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Was I not there?
You're
Or I abstained.
Same?
I've seen, yeah, I'm joking.
Okay, motion carries. The minutes are done. And then the abstract.
So I make a motion to approve abstract number 14, the amount of $506,335.32.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So anything else? Anything?
I was on Twitch earlier, but again, on August 8th, 6 p.m. to 8, SMTC Inter-Village Transit Plan, comment on the work thus far at Manlius Village Hall.
We should all post on our social medias.
We also want to comment on the, do you want to say?
Yeah, so the past weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the Town of Manlius Recreation Department presented Actually Become a Musical. It was actually the thought, so I was really curious how they're gonna make that into a musical, and it was kind of surprising, but it was very good, I enjoyed it. And it was very busy, and I don't know how they were managed, the cast managed to do it all, but they did. They were very busy constantly, all the costume changes and everything, but they did a wonderful job.
And they did a very creative set.
Yes, very creative set. They also did a raffle for either a burger for a year or pancakes for a year with the Daily Diner and Bull and Bear. And that drawing is going to be on July 26th and 30th. So, yes.
But, so, just as a reminder, this is one of those periods where we have 3 weeks between meetings as opposed to 2. So I would, was there extra week? And I would look for a motion to adjourn. So, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Good night, everybody.
Good night.